to Atlanta Community Profiles, a show about living in Atlanta and purchasing a home here. Atlanta Community Profiles is hosted by Lou Whelan, who will talk to experts who know this ever-changing city and its real estate industry. We'll talk to mayors, community leaders, and residential real estate experts. Now, here's Lou Whelan with this week's Atlanta Community Profiles.
Hello there and welcome to our show. My name is Lou Whelan. I publish the official relocation guides on Atlanta that are distributed by the First Multiple Listing Service of Atlanta. We have 5 publications, one for the metro area, one for Gwinnett in partnership with the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce, one for North Fulton in partnership with the North Fulton Chamber of Commerce, one for Cobb County, partnering with the Cobb Association of Realtors, and one for Inside 285. They are all available at the real estate brokerage firms and chambers of commerce at no charge, and throughout at those locations throughout the city. And they're also on my website, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com, along with this show will be on there too, as if you go to the radio archives on the right side. I have been publishing these for 24 years. I know the city pretty well by now, and as a result of that, if I can help you with any of your real estate needs, commercial or residential, as I would love to. I do have, like I say, quite a bit of knowledge about the city. My website is louwhelan.com, WIELAND.com. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce my guest today. His name is Brandon Hembree, and he is the city councilman for the great city of Sugar Hill in Gwinnett County, and he was, up until recently, the mayor pro tem. He rotated off of that job after 2 years. I guess every 2 years they change. So welcome to the show, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you, Lou. I'm glad to be here to talk a little bit about Sugar Hill.
Brandon works for a law firm, but don't hold that against him. He's a partner with Massey, Watson, and Hembree Limited, a governmental affairs firm, and joined the group as an associate in 2003. Previously, Brandon served as a staff aide for the Senate Appropriations Committee beginning in 1998, as a legislative associate for the Ford Motor Company in the company's Southeastern Governmental Affairs Office. He's active at the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, Government Affairs Council, the Technology Association of Georgia Government Affairs Task Force, the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce Partnership Gwinnett, and currently serves as chairman of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce GAC Education Committee. He is post 1 city council member for the Sugar Hill, and he has got a pretty busy job because of it's kind of a every day you don't know what's going on over there. It seems like it's changing every day over there in your great city, and I've been involved in it. I've been trying to help you guys with a lot of projects, including an active adult community in your downtown, and I haven't given up yet. I still hope to work with you on that. So why don't you, normally what I do is do a profile of the city, and I just do the population and the number of square miles and just a profile. But since you're an expert, why don't we do it a little differently this time? I'll let you do that.
Thank you, Lou. So we are a bedroom community, really, for Gwinnett County, and that's what we've been characterized as for many, many years. We're approximately 8 square miles. We have around 23,000 residents, which makes us the 4th largest city in Gwinnett County. On our eastern border, we have I-985. On our western border is the Chattahoochee River, and our northern border is Lake Lanier. So we are really ideally situated in Gwinnett County, and I think that makes us appealing to a lot of the young families and retirees that are looking to move to our part of Gwinnett County.
What's the southern border?
Southern border is roughly Swanee Dam Road, okay. Which is the main thoroughfare from Suwanee, Georgia, up to Lake Lanier, Buford Dam.
Okay. I know Swanee Dam Road very well. It's the home of one of our partners on the show, Swanee Dental Care.
That's right.
So the I don't know where to start, but let me just do this. We'll start with this. The changing downtown is every day, is a daily occurrence. So give us a status quo on the downtown project. What's happening downtown?
Absolutely. So I'll start with this little known fact, but about 10 years ago, we actually polled the residents of Sugar Hill, and we asked them what they would like to have in their community, and it was nearly unanimous. The number one desire that they had was our own downtown. They wanted restaurants and businesses that they could shop at within close proximity to where they live, and we have really diligently been working to provide that to them over the last 3 or 4 years. And so we started with an investment in our city hall. We opened a brand new city hall about 5 years ago, and that was really to serve as the anchor for the rest of our development downtown. We're currently about halfway through a $42 million project that we're calling the E-Center, which is a city-funded mixed-use project right next to our city hall. It'll have restaurant space, commercial and retail space, as well as a gymnasium, and that is really designed to bring residents to our downtown for a variety of different reasons. Because of that significant investment that we have made, we've been in discussions with lots of other developers about various projects in our downtown area. Last night, City Council approved a design review for some living spaces in our downtown, and that will include some apartments as well as townhomes, which are all designed to kind of help increase density downtown. We're also in discussion with some developers that are more focused on that baby boomer generation, and are looking at some assisted living projects, as well as just some senior living focused types of communities. And I think once we have all that pulled together, I think that's going to help us have a very vibrant downtown.
Well, that's quite a bit there. How do you think that will affect the overall total population of Sugar Hill when that's complete, and which is probably about 5-year plan or 4-year plan?
That's correct. It's a 5-year plan for us. We actually just recently updated our downtown master plan, and we are expecting that'll probably grow our population another couple thousand people, which again would all be situated in our downtown area. So really helping with the density that we need to make that a thriving downtown.
So you have on the books a assisted living facility, I think, that I've seen the architectural renderings, and they are spectacular. Tell us a little bit about that, please. Absolutely.
So this is a developer called the Solomon Group, and they've done other work around Metro Atlanta, in Woodstock. They just recently completed a project in Grayson, Georgia, which is in the eastern portion of Gwinnett County. And these are really focused on those types of individuals that need a limited amount of care. And so they are essentially like apartments for residents that need some type of specialized care. And, we really feel like this is going to be an additional benefit to the residents in our community that are maybe having a desire to age in place and want to stay in our community.
Now, there is a land that I looked at the land right across the street, the main highway there, Broad Street, I guess, from downtown. That's for sale. Is that right? Is it still for sale? Unless I was checked about 3 months ago or 2 months ago.
I think you're talking about the old Bi-School property, which was a piece of property that we purchased from the Gwinnett County school system, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And when I mentioned earlier the project that City Council approved last night, that is the project that I was talking about. So I believe that piece of property is now off the books and it's about to be developed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's right next to the church right there, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, that's very exciting news. And you have some other land, 8.3 acres downtown, that's for sale for around $500,000 or $400,000 to $500,000 an acre. That I wish I could buy right now because I know it'll be a good investment.
I'm sure it would.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm Lou Wieland. I'm sitting here with Brandon Hembree, who is not a lawyer, but you work for a law firm. Is that correct?
All right, governmental affairs firm, and none of the members of our firm are lawyers.
Oh, you're not lawyers?
No, sir.
You're a government. I never heard of a government affairs that weren't lawyers. Seems like they're all lawyers.
I was offended by that at first, but now that I've gotten to know you, I feel a little bit better about it.
I guess, all right. Well, I'm glad I got over that. So you're not a law firm. Whenever you see a name like that with LLC after, you think, must be a law firm. But, okay, well, so tell us, what does a government affairs firm actually do? Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So great question. We actually, as a firm, represent clients that need advocacy services at the Capitol. So we've done that for about 15 years, and I enjoy government and politics, and that gives me the opportunity to kind of stay engaged at the state level.
Okay, great. So you are advocating on behalf of your clients with the government for zoning maybe, or what kind of issues do you do?
It really depends. It's a wide range depending on the client that we have, but it's mainly focused at the General Assembly, so it's very legislative, policy-oriented, but we also help clients that have an interest in doing business with the various government agencies.
Oh, I see. Okay, so sales and marketing to some degree even.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to understand that. So public relations, sales and marketing, advocacy.
That's right. A little bit of all of that.
So very good. Sort of like an advertising agency in a way.
I think so, yeah. Public affairs, public relations, they all kind of fall under the same category.
Great, great. So you graduated from Georgia State with a BA in political science / pre-law. When I saw that pre-law, I was looking for where you graduated from law school, but you didn't go to law school. So, but anyway, so I was in pre-law too, and I didn't go either. My son was in the, he liked that too, and he didn't want it, but it's hard. That's a different area of life over there. All right, so tell me something. We have something called the Bowl that you call the Bowl in downtown. What would you describe that a little bit, please?
So our Bowl is our outdoor concert venue, and it's something that we've had for a number of years. It was actually part of our original City Hall project. However, we have invested about $3 million in improvements to it over the last several years, and we have a concert series each and every year. I think this is the fourth year that we've done a concert series, and we've got some pretty good acts in line this year. We actually have Colby Collet coming to perform in a week or so, and we have Easton Corbin, and many of you may remember Michael Bolton from the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah,
He's actually coming
wow,
to perform in the fall.
good.
And that venue is really designed to bring our community together in a celebratory fashion. And when we first started it, we started out with several concerts, and I think we're up to 7 concerts in our series this year, and it's been very, very popular. It's all outdoor. Depending on the configuration, it seats about 1,500 to 1,800 individuals, and we actually do a ticket sales model, so people buy tickets to go to the concerts, and for the last 3 years, all of our concerts have been sold out.
Mm-hmm. And you have that. How many people does that hold against? 375, is that right? No,
Roughly the seating capacity is 1,500 to 1,800, depending on how you configure it. And what we've been doing is we sell tables, we sell individual chairs. We give a number of different options for people to purchase.
Okay, I was looking at the movie theater. You're building another movie theater. That's 350.
That's correct. So that is part of our new development that's about halfway done. We are actually calling that the E-Center, and it has a performing arts theater component, and that number is actually a little bit old. We actually will have 406 seats in that performing arts theater when it's done, and we actually expect it to open in the August-September timeframe of this year.
Okay, so I know that you're also looking at having a lot more restaurants. Tell us a little bit about your plan for that area.
Absolutely. So that is the number one thing that we get asked for in our community, and it's really somewhat frustrating because we don't really have a lot of restaurants in Sugar Hill. If you want to find a good place to eat, you have to go to Buford or Sewanee, and I think people just want to have our own city restaurant identity. So we are working very hard to bring restaurants to our community. I think we have space for about 10 new restaurants in our East Center development. And while I can't give you any specific names, we have signed leases, and we hope that in the fall, some of those restaurants will be open for people to be able to take advantage of. And we are really focused on non-chain restaurants and have been working with a consultant to help identify restaurants that might be looking to expand or to open new restaurants in the Metro Atlanta area, and we're having a tremendous amount of success finding good restaurants.
I know of one too that I would like to bring over there.
We'd love for you to.
It's a unique place, and do you have what kind of cuisines? Can you tell me what kind of cuisines you are looking at, or have, or soliciting?
So the things that have been the most popular and what we've really targeted and what we've been able to get signed for leasing so far have been pizza focused. We have a tremendous need for what's called white tablecloth restaurants. So, a 3 or 4 star type restaurant, and we are in the process of talking to a steak and seafood restaurant. I think that will be a very good addition to our downtown. Brew pubs are very popular, as well as just your traditional pubs. I think that those are the types of gathering spaces that particularly the younger generations are looking for, and we're really trying to appeal to all age groups in our downtown area, but also trying to look at that affordability spectrum. And so even though we might be looking for 3 or 4 star restaurants, we're also looking for restaurants that might be a little less expensive, that might be more appealing to the moms that bring their children to our downtown during the daytime.
And we have a lot of topics to cover. You have a plan to add more office space too, right? Medical/office space.
Yes, sir. That's correct. That's another thing that is not as prevalent in Gwinnett County. Beaufort and Sewanee have done, I think, a great job of attracting those white-collar jobs. But our largest employer is actually MTI Bass, and they don't really have a tremendous amount of employees, and so most of the residents in Sugar Hill are commuting elsewhere, and we would really like to bring some job opportunities to our city so that they could stay local.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan, sitting here with Brandon Hembree, who is the immediate past mayor pro tem, you might say, of the great city of Sugar Hill, and currently on this city council. And so there's so much to... Let me ask you this question. Maybe you could tell our listeners the website that they could go to look at some of the architectural renderings and the plans. What would be the best way for them to see that?
Absolutely. So they can either Google City of Sugar Hill or go to www.cityofsugarhill.com, and we have most everything on our city website, including some of the renderings for our downtown projects. I would just encourage people to just look around as much as they can on that website. We have a link for our Downtown Development Authority. We will occasionally and quite often post updates regarding some of those projects. But yeah, you can find most everything you want on that city website.
Okay, you'll be amazed, really, at what the grand design or the grand kind of a macro plan for the city. It's spectacular. And the one of the things that I like is the plan for the 16.5 mile Greenway Loop, and that's almost a marathon. You could run around that and maybe another few miles, and you'd have a marathon. So 1.5 times around that, and you'd have a marathon. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, that is one of the projects that I've been working on personally, and it's something that I'm really very excited about. So we initially discovered that the State Department of Transportation had a tremendous amount of right-of-way that they were sitting on and had been sitting on for about 20 years. So many of you may recall those Northern Arc discussions that were so controversial about 2 decades ago. The project ended up not going anywhere because of the controversy, but DOT has been sitting on that property for many, many years, and we discovered that it was there, and we approached them about the possibility of doing a partnership with them to repurpose that into a greenway, and they have agreed to do that with us, and so it's very, very exciting. So we're going to be able to turn something that at once was very, very negative into something that is positive for our community. So the 16 miles is kind of a long-term goal for us. We are actually about to begin construction on phase 1 of the greenway, which will be approximately 6 miles. It'll go from our downtown area, and it will go through 2 parks, connect one of our churches, and then go to a trailhead park that we have listed as a future project. We're calling it Gold Mine Park. It's got an old gold mine on it, and we're going to be incorporating some of the history of Sugar Hill into that trailhead. That is the project that I think has gotten the most excitement from our residents. They're very, very excited about the downtown, but there's something about green space and greenways that is very, very appealing to younger generations and even older generations. And we've had a number of community meetings. We actually did an inaugural run for the greenway about a week or so ago. We did a very kind of informal 5K, and we had 150 people from our community show up to run the 5K, and they just cannot wait for that Greenway project to get underway.
Oh, but now that couple of questions on that. It starts in downtown, and it heads up towards the river, right?
That's correct. Yes.
And is it on the north or south side of I-20?
It is going to be on the south side.
South side. So you don't have to cross over.
No, sir.
Strictly across, always straight down. Now, how far from I-20 is it? How far back is it?
Well,
is it alongside I-20?
No, so it'll actually start in our new gymnasium in our downtown area, and it will go south on Level Creek Road and connect into the 2 county parks, which are referred to as E.E. Robinson. If you've ever been to that part of Gwinnett County, had a child playing baseball or softball, you've probably played at one of those E.E. Robinson parks, one of the more popular parks in western Gwinnett County. But it'll go through those 2 parks, and then eventually it will end up at that new Andy Stanley Church, Gwinnett Church.
I belong to that church.
And then it will head west and go through the Sugar Hill community until it gets to the river eventually.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Sitting here talking with Brandon Hembree, who works with Massey, Watson, and Hembree. And I made the mistake of thinking that was a law firm, but it's really not. It's at 233 Peachtree Street. So it's nice to know there's something else in that building besides law firms. That's probably what else threw me off, because it's like a high rise with all law firms in there. But you are a PR firm and advocacy with government on behalf of clients who need help with government projects and
Yes,
contracts.
sir.
And so, anyway, your pet project you mentioned is the Greenway Loop. So I guess different people are assigned to different projects. Is that kind of, this is your baby, right? So
That's right. Yeah.
just describe the geography again, the way you described it to me on the break. So
Absolutely. So I think earlier in our conversation, I kind of described how our city is laid out, and our western border is the Chattahoochee River, and it really kind of serves as the central landmark whenever we kind of describe where our city is located. But in talking in more detail about where the Greenway will go, it'll actually start in our downtown area and eventually make a loop around the entire city, and that'll take it literally south on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, and it will begin to connect a number of parks that we have in our community. Two of those parks are E.E. Robinson, and they're owned and operated by Gwinnett County, and they will kind of be the beginning stages of the park experience on the Greenway. But eventually, it'll actually go all the way to the river. We recently acquired about 77 acres south of Georgia Highway 20 along the Chattahoochee River. We are obligated to preserve 2/3 of that as green space, and that'll be a big portion of the Greenway before it actually crosses under the bridge there at the Chattahoochee River. It'll then go to our golf course, which we've had for about 20 plus years. It will connect into our own city-owned park, which is Gary Perkle Park, and that is up towards Buford Dam. So it is very, very near Lake Lanier, and then it'll eventually loop around and connect back into our downtown area, and that'll make the entire loop. And we are projecting that the entire 16-mile loop will probably take about 7 to 10 years to complete. Phase 1, which is only 5 or 6 miles, we expect to have done in about 18 months.
the question, like with the Beltway, I think next week the president of the Beltway is going to be on the show. But one of the things that everybody's talking about is land for sale around the Beltway. Beltline. I come from Washington, so the Beltline.
Yeah, it is
the Beltline. So what will you have land for sale around the loop, or
well, there will be a tremendous amount of land that I think will be able to be bought. And I'll tell you, we interact a good bit with the real estate agents that serve the Sugar Hill community. And even though we don't have the Greenway yet, they are already marketing the Greenway to their clients. And I've seen collateral from some of the local real estate agents that are utilizing that as a selling point when they try to bring people to our community. It's also something that I know the Home Builders Association is very aware of, and I think that we have gotten a tremendous amount of interest from some community developers that also know that is an amenity that will attract people to Sugar Hill.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. So I don't know how much land you'll have available for sale around that loop, but I promise you'll sell every bit of it, because I mean, it's a no-brainer. Particularly that close to the river and close to Lake Lanier.
Absolutely.
And to the new downtown. So, that's going to be, you're going to be in a really enviable position there. Now, I saw a number that was attached to the investment amount in the new downtown, and the last figure I saw was $300 million. The figure before that, not that long before, was $200 million. So I was thinking it's been a few months since I looked at it. It's probably up to $400 million. What is it now?
I'm going to say 300 is probably a slightly old number. I would say you're probably in the 350 to 360 range. And, that changes as we talk to more developers and have those development agreements in place. But I think that's probably going to be a conservative number in the long term.
You know, you have another thing too that's downtown in the winter is the ice skating right down by in the bowl.
Right. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, because there aren't so many places like that. That's very interesting to me, since my son played hockey since he could walk.
So that's somewhat of an amazing phenomenon, and we just finished our third year having the ice rink downtown, and it's not an original idea. We actually stole it from Greenville, South Carolina, and if you go up there around Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you just see how that transforms their downtown, you'll understand why we decided to do it. But we partner with a vendor to do an ice rink right behind our city hall. We do it from November through just about Valentine's Day, and last year we actually had 15,000 people that came to utilize our ice rink. We have a lot of people from our own community, but we're also attracting people from all over Metro Atlanta. And I think the appeal is that it is real ice, and that is something that's very, very exciting. It's a little more painful when you fall on it, but it's a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know all about real ice. My son played hockey from the time he could walk, so we did that. And so anyway, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about some Thursdays at the Hill. We're going to talk about their youth council and their schools a little bit. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Lou Whelan. I'm sitting here with our guest today, Brandon Hembree. And he is with a PR firm, with governmental public relations and advocacy firm called Massey, Watson, and Hembree. And he is on the city councilman for Sugar Hill. And he's the immediate past mayor pro tem. And Sugar Hill's population is 23,000. And when you're finished with developing the downtown, you think it'll add 10% to the population, roughly.
Yes, sir.
So another 2,000. You'll be almost at 25,000 in 5 years. So that's pretty impressive growth, in 5 years. Actually.
It is.
And by the way, if you missed any of the show, it's on my website, AtlantaCommunityProfiles.com. Without the commercials. And I'd like to just talk a little bit about living in Sugar Hill for a minute. And you have something called Thursdays at the Hill. What's that all about?
So Thursdays at the Hill is, I think this is our third year doing this concept, and it's really just an opportunity for residents to get together, to socialize with each other. And we bring in food trucks. We have a band that performs, and people just come and they gather in our downtown area. They sit in lawn chairs and play with their family, and they just enjoy time to each other. And I think it's really been a game changer for us in helping do what we call building community, and that's just bringing people together.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the other events that you have during the year? I know you have quite a few different things going on over there. Can you just give us a brief feel for us so they can understand a little bit about life in Sugar Hill?
Absolutely. So we have really been focused on bringing people to the table, giving them the opportunity to kind of be a part of our community, and And I think we operate under the assumption that, your average person, they really want to feel like they are part of community. And I think most people want to feel like they're contributing towards their community. And so we do anything and everything that we can to create those types of opportunities. And Thursdays at the Hill are just one example. The concerts are a mechanism that we use to bring people downtown, as well as the ice rink. But we do a number of other things too, including a fall festival and a Makers Fest. And we actually are going to be having our second beer fest this year in our downtown. And again, all of that is designed to just bring people to get together. In addition to that, we've started a number of city focus groups. Earlier off the air, you asked me a little bit about our youth council, and that is something that we have started to engage the youth in our community, and this is our third year doing that. And we actually pick students from our various high schools to serve on a youth council, and they become involved in our city government, and they help us plan, which is very, very important because they're the future of our city, and we want to make sure that the things that we do in our city appeal to them because we want them to stay in our city. We've also done other things like start a historic preservation society and an arts commission, just to get people engaged in various various acts of building community.
At one time, at least, you had something called the Sparks in the Park at July 4th, which is July 4th celebration. You still have that going on?
We still do that, and we actually now do it on July the 3rd, and that's when it will be this year. And that is a huge turnout. We get people all over, from all over Gwinnett County, and I think we had about 15,000 people that came to our fireworks show last year.
Thanks for being on the show, Brandon, and thanks for your service to the community in which you live. I know not that easy to find really smart guys to contribute to the well-being of the city, but we appreciate your service.
Thank you, Lou.
And stay tuned. Next week, we'll have another guest. It's going to be a surprise guest, but I think it'll be somebody who you will really enjoy hearing from. So stay tuned. Be right back. We'll be seeing you next week.